Mike Radich here, and I'm now joined on the phone by Legacy FC Bantamweight, Holm. Holly, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on.
Sure, no problem. Thanks for doing it. Holly, you got a fight coming up July 19th at Legacy FC 21. How's training been going for the fight?
It's been really good. I've had great training. I've had great training partners. I've been healthy. Everything's been good, so I really have no complaints. It's been going great.
Mm-hmm. Just curious, what's it been like now that you're full-time MMA and training full-time MMA? How's the camp went from just the perspective of just doing this full-time now?
You know, I can go in and just kind of focus on what I had for the day, and I try to just think about what we're doing in that day. When before I'd go in, sometimes think, well, maybe today I'll just box, or maybe today I'll kickbox. And when I was going back and forth, I kind of, I didn't want to just totally get so excited about MMA that I kind of forgot about, just work on some boxing as well. And so now it's just kind of good. I just go in. If it's grappling day, I just grapple. If it's wrestling day, I wrestle. If it's, sparring day, I just spar. So I think that's been nice just to put 100% focus into it.
Mm-hmm. Now, how much are you working on the other stuff? Obviously, we know your striking background. You've boxed, you've done kickboxing for a long time. Now that you're coming into MMA full-time, you're going to have more of a focus in the other areas. But, what percentage of the time would you say you spend on wrestling and jiu-jitsu mixed in with the striking that you've already, had that kind of head start on?
I think that it's equal. Mm-hmm. I do equal amount every week. Wednesday and Friday is wrestling, so I do that twice a week. Tuesday and Thursday is sparring, so stand-up, and Monday and morning and Thursday afternoon is grappling. So I do 2 classes a week. I mean, of course, then I've got, mitt work and running and, I teach aerobics. There's a lot of other stuff. But as far as, my main focus for training each day is something different, but it's pretty well-rounded.
Mm-hmm. Now, there's been strikers who have come into MMA from boxing, kickboxing, and said that the number one kind of problem that they've had coming into it from the striking aspect is kind of having to tailor their game from the sport that they come into to mixed martial arts, because in mixed martial arts you have the takedowns and the submissions and all that stuff. How have you had to tailor your striking now that you are coming into MMA?
I think there's a lot of things. Obviously, anybody with any bit of common sense knows you need to be a little lower in your stance with your stand-up because you might get taken down. And so we've been working on that, which is something that even we were trying to work on with boxing. It's good to be nice and grounded so you can have balance and power with your punches and not be standing too tall and off balance. So, but I think that there's a lot of things that, yes, I need to work on for adjusting to the MMA, but it's not like it's far-fetched from what I was already trying to do better in boxing in the first place anyway. I think it's all been something I need to learn, and I like to always constantly be trying to learn something new and perfecting.
Mm-hmm. At this point, what would you say is the area that you need the most work in?
Probably jiu-jitsu. Mm-hmm. There's so many, for every attack, there's always a counter, and for every counter, there's another counter.
Right.
And it's, that world to me is just so detailed. So is wrestling, but I feel like wrestling is not quite as. I think wrestling is harder in its own right, but I feel like it's not quite as step-by-step detailed. And I don't know. I think they all just really challenge in their own ways.
Mm-hmm. Now, is jiu-jitsu the area that you've had the most trouble learning, or is it just the area that has the most parts to it?
I think it just, I don't know. I think it has the most parts to it. You work from the bottom, work from the top, work from, and maybe that's because I haven't learned as much in wrestling, or, I don't know. The more I learn with things, sometimes the more I realize I don't know. I don't know if that makes any sense. Mm-hmm. But
Sure. Now, I've heard you say in the past that when you were boxing, there were some times where you wish that, you could just kick somebody for whatever reason. They might have been turning around or something, and you thought that, hey, if it was in the rules, that it would have been a perfect time to land a head kick. Now that you have the opportunity to land some of these strikes because you're in a different sport, has it been, a little bit easier to kind of just let instincts take over when you're sparring, and just, if you see something, not having to worry about, it's not in the rules?
Yeah, I think that I think it's definitely definitely been fun to be able to do that. It gives you more weapons, you know. And on the flip side of that, you also have to watch out for more weapons. Right. So, you know, I do like to be able to throw the kicks, but I also have to remind myself that there's going to be other kicks coming at me, not just punches. And not only that, but there's takedowns and everything else. So I think that it's definitely, yes, I love being able to use my feet, but with that also comes the fact that they can do the same, you know?
Sure. Now, what's the tougher part, to be offensive or to be defensive?
I think defensive is harder for sure. And really, I think the hardest thing is to be offensive while you're being defensive. You know, you want to throw punches, but you have to be worried about what's going to come back at you. So, if you commit too hard with, you know, your striking, sometimes that turns into running into a takedown or something, you know?
Now, Holly, today was the open workout for all the female fighters that are going to be fighting in the month of July. How did that go?
It went great. You know, I think we've got a great team, and I think it's great to be able to kind of push each other, and you see, you know, one fighter will be excelling in something, and it makes you motivated to want to be that good or learn that as well. And I think that it's definitely great. I think that we've been able to push each other, and it was kind of nice just to be able to all come together and kind of just work together on stuff. And, you know, the media being there, it puts it in perspective that, yeah, we've got a great girls team here, you know?
Now, with all the girls at the gym, well, most of them having a fight at the same time that you're having a fight, does that make for better training when everyone's trying to peak at the same time?
Oh, definitely. I think that we all kind of are going through a lot of the same emotions together, and I think we're all going through the diet together, and we're all learning things together, and we're seeing things come together in practice, and I just feel like it's been great. You know, I think everybody's been able to kind of get together and put things together, and then it just motivates each other.
Now, you're fighting out of Jackson Winklejohn. Just curious, now that you're full-time MMA, how much more of a role is Greg Jackson playing in your development?
He's always been a great coach and always been really supportive with me, whether it be boxing or MMA, and now he's even been able to really, you know, I've had, you know, a few more private lessons and things like that just to get a little bit of his knowledge. You know, he's so talented and so knowledgeable in everything with wrestling and jiu-jitsu that it's been great working with him, and yeah, I really, really enjoy it.
Even though you train at Jackson's, I think when people think of you and your coaches, they immediately think of Mike Winklejohn just because of the relationship that you two have together, and you've been working together for a long time. But over the course of your entire fighting career, how much have you worked with Greg Jackson?
I've worked with him a lot. I've known him since I was, I think, 19. And there's been times he's come even before we combined gyms, and I've sparred with him. Back when I was 20 years old, you know, I'm going to be 32 this year, so I think a lot of people don't realize how close I have been with Greg along the years. And I've learned a lot from him along the way, and he's also a lefty. So Mr. Winklejohn. And so how lucky am I? I have two lefties as a coach.
Just curious, who's going to be cornering you for this fight?
Mr. Winklejohn and Greg will be there.
Now, I think after your last boxing match, you said that you were looking to kind of take a little bit of a mental break because you had been fighting pretty consistently. You had a couple boxing matches and the Bellator fight mixed in there, and you were just trying to relax, take a mental break. And then even though you had this MMA thing on the horizon, you were very excited about that, you wanted to kind of rest your body and take your mind off of things. And you said that you were targeting a fall return to fighting. Just curious, why did you decide to come back to fighting so soon? Why did you decide to come back in July as opposed to coming back in the fall like you had planned on doing?
You know, the opportunity came. And my biggest thing is I've always just said, you know, I don't ever want to say no to a good opportunity. And this was presented, so I took it. And we're already getting close to the end of training. Already put all the work in, so maybe I'll get a little break after this. Who knows? And if not, I always just say, I don't know, I just want to ride the wave, you know? Just kind of take it as it comes. A lot of people have a hard time trying to find a fight that they're trying to, hey, can I fight on your card? Can I do this? And can I? And for me, it's like, if it's there, I'm just going to take advantage of the opportunity.
Now, just curious, why did you decide to sign with Legacy? Because I wasn't really surprised when you signed that deal, because I was talking to Mick Maynard maybe a week or 2 weeks before they announced that you signed there, and he said that they were really pushing towards getting an event in New Mexico, and I thought, who better than Holly Holm, because you have the great following there. I thought that would have been a match made in heaven for you, and it was, great that you had ended up signing there. Was that the main reason for going to Legacy, with this possibility of local fights, or was there another thing that kind of sealed the deal?
I think it was just a mixture of things. I think we looked, we talked to a few different promotions and just saw what was going to be the best opportunity, and this is what we thought was the best opportunity. And really, I didn't have to do a lot of thinking on it. My promoter, Lenny Fresquez, and trainer Mike Winklejohn kind of got together and kind of did the phone calls and the talking for me, and they just said, here, we got this, and this. What do you think? We think this might be the best opportunity. I said, I agree. That's pretty much as detailed as I had to really get in it, and I think it's been great already. I haven't even quite fought for them yet. The fight's coming up next weekend, but it's been a great relationship, and it's been really nice working with them. So I'm really excited to be signed with Legacy.
Now, do you know the terms of this deal? Are you exclusive just to Legacy? Are you exclusive just to the United States? Do you know what you can and can't do?
Yeah, I have some bit of a exclusive, but if I have an opportunity to fight at home, I have the freedom to do so. And if there's a big opportunity fight with the UFC, I have the freedom to do so. But really, other than that, it's just Legacy. But right now, I feel like all the opportunities are really going to be with Legacy anyway. So I think that if it was something local, who knows, it might be something where they promote together, like you were saying. So I think it's been, I don't know, just looking at all the options one way or the other, and I think it's going to be good working with them and just working together.
The reason I asked is because I believe XFC is coming to New Mexico in September, so I thought maybe that would be a possibility for you.
Yeah, and that could, I say I want to break, but that could very well be, already getting going, so we'll see what happens.
Well, on July 19th, you're going to be taking on Alana Jones. What are your thoughts about her as an opponent?
A lot of the video I've seen, she's kind of boxing, doing some stand-up fighting, and I'm sure that that's not really going to be her full game plan with me.
Sure.
So we kind of have a plan A and a plan B. We'll see. If she comes out one way, we'll go with plan A, and if she comes out another way, we'll go with plan B.
Now, based on what you've seen from her in the past and the 3 fights that you've had in MMA before with those opponents, do you feel that Alana is a step up in competition from those 3, or is she just the appropriate step up in competition and kind of what you need as you embark on this new chapter?
I don't really know. My first fight was against a pretty good little wrestler, and my second fight was against Jan Finney, and she's kind of, been around for a long time and fought a lot of big names. And, my last fight was somebody who didn't have quite as much experience, but she definitely gave me a hard time with some things, and so sometimes I think it's really hard for me to tell. I don't really like to say too much until the fight's over. Everybody comes with their different style, and styles can make a difference in the matchup, and so I think that one thing that I think she has going that's a positive thing for her is when I see her, videos, she's very composed. She doesn't, nothing really, can't really scare her with a hard punch, she kind of stays composed, looks for openings, and that in a fighter that keeps like a good focus and a good composure can be a plus for them. And it's just kind of, I don't know, it's every fighter has their things that are going to be hard to defend, and I don't know, it's just each fight's different.
This is only going to be the 4th time that you've ever fought outside of the state of New Mexico. Are you looking forward to this experience? Are you looking forward to the change in scenery?
Oh yeah, I think it's going to be great. And actually, it's my brother's hometown, so it's going to be fun. a lot of his friends are going to be out there, and so I'll have some family out there, and a lot of friends from here are going as well. And so, I don't know, I feel like it's going to be good. I'm excited to go out of town. I'm excited for a new adventure. I'm excited for a little change in pace, something different, you know?
Definitely. Now, from what I know about you, you don't really like to give predictions. You kind of really don't see the fights happen. You just kind of, when you get there, you just let it happen. Why is that? Why don't you like to kind of picture what's going to happen in a fight?
Because you never know how it's going to go. You can get in there and they can be aggressive in your face, or you can get in there and they want to counter your punches, or you can get in there and they want to take you down, or you can get in there and they're not even going to try for a single takedown. So I think if I walked into a fight thinking, you know what, I'm going to reject her takedown, what if she comes out and doesn't even try a takedown? Well, then I'm not going to be prepared for what's coming at me. I feel like it definitely needs to be, you know, I like to leave an open mind for how the fight's going to go. And if you picture yourself stopping them in round one, how am I going to be mentally ready for round 2 or 3? Don't get me wrong, I'm always looking for the knockout if it's there. But it might not happen. So I like to plan for all 3 rounds.
Do you watch a lot of film on your opponents, or do you leave that up to your coaches?
Not as much as I should. My coaches are always like, hey, did you watch that fight? Did you see this? Did you see that? And I do watch. Not as much as I probably should, but I do watch it. And, you know, I like to see the things that I might be able to capitalize on and see the things I need to watch out for. So I do watch film.
With more elements to mixed martial arts than in boxing, is that something that's going to have to change? Are you going to have to watch more film?
I think I need to watch more film all the way across the board, yeah. Especially with all this new stuff, you know, so I definitely am going to have to put myself in that. It's not a comfort zone for me by any means, you know. It's uncomfortable, I get nervous, and I get worked up, so I just need to dive right into it.
Now, Holly, what's the goal here, you know, for your MMA career, both short-term and long-term? What are you looking to accomplish in the sport? Just to win.
I just want to win. That's it. This fight next Friday, I want to win. And whatever door opens, I just want to win. And if that takes me somewhere, it takes me to top, great. But for me, accomplishing for me is I want to win the fight. And that's really as simple as it is for me.
Holly, last thing, now that you're full-time MMA and you've ended your career in boxing, what's the most memorable moment from your boxing career?
Wow. Gosh, I don't know. I guess I can't put it on one exact moment, but I think the most memorable and meaning times to me is when I faced something that was so controversial, that was so negative, and came out on top. Those moments were life-changing for me. Going into the Christy Martin fight, you know, when I only had 12 fights and she had over 40, the odds were that I was going to get knocked out like 4-1, you know. And then going through that, it was just like when the fight was over, it was like, wow, did that really happen? And I couldn't even go to sleep that night. I was just thinking like, it really happened and it's over. And that's not the only time. There's been times where, you know, Fox Sports Net came and I was headlining it, and I thought, man, I got to make sure and, you know, take advantage of this. And then fighting Mary Jo Sanders was undefeated, and I fought her at 154 when my normal weight was 140. And, you know, oh, she was the bigger, more powerful puncher. What are you going to do? And kind of, I think the most memorable times for me, I look back, and even most recently from going knocked out and taking the rematch. In the taking the rematch, everybody's saying, oh my gosh, what are you thinking? I can't believe you're going to rematch her. And it was like, well, that's why I'm getting in there and fighting her, not you, you know. And so I think the most memorable or the most like life-changing things I'll take with me were going through these times where all the odds were against me and coming out on top. There's no feeling like it, and it really is. It's life-changing in every way that you can imagine, and that is the biggest thing that I take with me from my entire boxing career.
Holly, real quick before I let you go, do you have any sponsors you'd like to thank, and is there anything you'd like to say to the fans?
Yeah, you know, Define Fitness has been always sponsoring me. They're a local, gym here in town, and My gyms that I train at, the Jackson Winklejohn and Wink's gym, all of our teammates, I honestly can go on for days, and really my whole career in boxing, being promoted with Lenny, he's put a lot of time and effort into it, and, I really could go on with how much a lot of people have helped me. I really couldn't have had a career with, all these different aspects of support, so I definitely appreciate them so much.
Mm-hmm. Holly, thank you for taking the time to talk. I really appreciate it. Good luck July 19th at Legacy FC 21 against Alana Jones.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your time.